I'm co-hosting this event with my husband, Jolene Ivey, who's a congressman from District 4. I really am sad that we have to do this. It's like ridiculous. I mean, why are federal workers under attack? And this is just an opportunity here today to bring you some financial information to make sure that you are well equipped for the rough ride that we're in right now, but still working towards making the ship calm down. We have some really wonderful speakers today, and I'll introduce them in a moment. I wanted to acknowledge a few elected officials who are here. We have Mayor Sidner from Laurel. Councilmember Kyla Clark, she was here, I don't know if she's still here. We have Jenny Pompey, on Greenbelt Council. And I really want to thank Greenbelt. The town has been really great about providing a shuttle bus, police. They've been really great partners in this. And so thank you so much to the city of Greenbelt. And the school system too. They were planning to have basketball games in this room today. And when we got up to the point where there were 1,000 people who had signed up, they said, you know what? We think we'll have our basketball game somewhere else. So we appreciate that. The games are still happening. So we have Michelle Singletary here from the Washington Post. We have Walter Simmons, where'd you go? From Employed Prince George's. Don Medley from FSC First. We have the Jamaur Law Foundation. We have Ivy Finkestadt from Community Legal Services. Michael Bayrd from the Comptroller's Office. Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't missing anybody. So I'm not going to take any more of this time. I want to make sure that we have time for the speakers. Everybody will introduce themselves a bit more. Here is the mayor of Greenbelt just walked in. We were just giving many thanks to Greenbelt, so.
Thank you.
No, appreciate you. So they're each going to introduce themselves and speak a bit, and then we're going to go to questions. Ike, over here, he's got yeah, there we go. He's going to go to you with your questions so that everybody can hear them, and then the people here can answer. So let's get started. We'll start at this end.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here today. I'm sad that I have to be here today. For those of you who don't know, I write the Color of Money column for the Washington Post, and I have been covering this issue since it started. And it is, I'm gonna try not to cry, y'all. And I haven't lost my job, but I know so many people who have, so many of my friends, so many of my church members. I'm a member of First Baptist Church of Glen Arden. I run the financial ministry at our church, Prosperity Partners Ministry, and afterwards, my husband and I, my husband is the assistant director who's sitting in the front row, we'll stay behind for anybody who wants to talk to us about how that ministry can help you. It's open to anybody. You do not have to be a member of First Baptist Church of Glen Arden. So I have two missions here today to kind of give you some hope of how to handle your finances if you have lost your job or you're sitting on that bubble and you're not sure. And then also, please come see me, because one of the things that we've been trying to do at the Post is talk to people who are having this happen to them. And the more we report, the more things change. And so if you are willing to talk to me, and we don't have to use your name, but we need to know what's happening to you, the emails that you're receiving, because as we've been reporting it, they have to change. They've been changing things, and we've been exposing things to help things better for you. For example, I was talking to a federal employee from Arkansas, and so lots of people, and some of you may be regretting that you didn't sign that fork in the road. And I want to tell you, I advise people not to because there was so much wrong with it. And I would encourage you not to have regrets, because the worker that I talked to in Arkansas, she signed it and has gotten no information, nothing from her HR department, and she making about the same amount of money, over $100,000, but she can't be hired by that company because of a conflict of interest. And the government, her agency, won't release her because they don't know anything. And so the company can't hire her because they don't know if there's a conflict of interest. So she can't even take advantage of this thing that they said was going to be so great for you. And so that's the other thing. I don't want you to be upset about that. But if you have lost your job, obviously there's some things that you have to do, right? And hopefully if you contact me afterwards, we can help you with that, about how do you handle your bills. If you're on the bubble and you haven't, this is the time to be tight. I mean, cut everything. Anything that you don't need as a necessity, it has to be cut. This is crisis time. And I don't want to scare you, but certainly you have to tighten things up. And if you know someone who's in the federal government, this is the time to step up to help them. And that might mean using some of your financial resources. The one other thing before I pass it on to the next speaker is that if you are in budget trouble, there is the National Foundation for Credit Counseling, nfcc.org. They have budget counselors who can help you figure out how to make that money that you do have last if you've lost your job. I said that was a final beat. Then on March 29th at First Baptist Church of Illinois, we're doing a Ask a Professional. We're going to have lawyers there, tax folks, and a lot of financial folks. We're going to be talking about a whole session on budgeting. I'll be doing that session. We have a session on fraud, because many of you who have lost your job, now we find that there is an increase in fake job ads. And so you need to be very careful as you apply for jobs, especially online. So we're going to be talking about how to protect yourself and how to make sure that the company that's reaching out to you is actually legitimate and you don't lose more money. We're going to talk about investing. If you work for the federal government, you've got your TSP, what do you do with that? Lots of people are worried that it's not going to be there. Should I roll it over? So we're going to talk about that and what you should do with that money. And then finally, we'll have a whole session on debt counseling. And that agency that I mentioned for you in FCC, they'll have representatives there that can actually take you individually and walk through your financial situation to see what is available for you, whether you have to file for bankruptcy or you just need some budgeting help. There'll be individuals there to sign you up for counseling sessions.
Good morning. My name is Jamaur. I created my foundation based off of, I was in credit card debt at one point in college. So I wanted to be a vessel here in the Black and brown community to be able to give you the resources for you to learn more about finances. I did read 21-day fasting when I first moved down here from Pennsylvania in 2014. So finance is one of my biggest things that I wanted to bring to the community and help you on the foundational level of not investing, but savings, budgeting, right? You have to create a foundation before you be able to invest. So I want to be the grassroots on the ground to be able to give our community those tools and resources. And I brought a resource with me, one of my supporters and part of my team. She's a tax attorney. So that gives you a resource. So our table's right out there. If you have any questions, come see me. This is your mentor to me, so I'll read your stuff all the time. So she's one person that I also follow her columns and her work as well. So it's a privilege to be up here amongst people who have status in the community who are really helping. And I'm also a member of First Baptist as well. So I'll say those resources are very helpful to our church. I'm going to pass the microphone over to one of our supporters of our foundation, and come see me out there as well. If you need a pair of shoes, a brand new pair of shoes, come see me. It's a gift to the community to help offset a burden in your household that I brought today. If I have your sizes, for your children's sizes, anybody we know, I have shoes out there to give to the community.
Good morning, and Jamaur, thank you so much for introducing me, and thank you for allowing me to be here. My name is Sakina Tillman. I come from two capacities. One, I have a tax planning tax preparation consulting business called Tillman Tax Services. I had it for over 10 years. So I help folks with their tax returns because tax season is here, as well as tax planning. But also, I come under a second capacity as a law professor and a director of a free tax clinic. And in this capacity, we help folks that have issues with the IRS or the state of Maryland, the District of Columbia, or any other state. And so what we do, if there's a dispute, meaning that you owe the IRS or you owe the state, we help them get into various tax reliefs that they may be eligible for. And these services are for free. And so if you are in a position now where you have tax debt, the unfortunate thing is that it still exists and you have to do something about it. And with our clinic, we're able to help you with the various hardships that are available out there that you may not know about. And so if you're interested in my services in my clinic, please come outside when we're done here. I can give you more information about my clinic. Also in the state of Maryland, there are 2 law schools, the University of Maryland, the University of Baltimore, that also has free tax clinics as well, and they do the same work that I do at the University of the District of Columbia Law School. So if you have questions, concerns, please don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So my name is Walter Simmons. I serve as the President and CEO of Employ Prince George's, but also the Executive Director of the Prince George's County Workforce Development Board. I'm also someone who uniquely has worked for the DC Department of Employment Services and now Workforce Development in Prince George's County in Maryland. So a couple of things. We're the county's workforce arm. We don't administer unemployment insurance benefits, but we do have our job center in Largo, American Job Center Largo at 1801 McCormick Drive, 1801 McCormick Drive, which is right across from Woodmore Town Center, where the Maryland Department of Labor staffs. They also have unemployment staff limited at that center. Key things that I want to make sure you all are aware of: if you file your unemployment based on your duty station, federal civilian employee, you file it based on your duty station, not where you live. You have 2 types of unemployment insurance, whether it's Virginia, DC, or Maryland. So if you are a federal contractor, not a federal employee, you will file for traditional unemployment insurance compensation, abbreviated as UI. If you are a federal employee, you're going to go through the same process roughly, but you are going to file for UCFE. That's unemployment compensation for federal employees. This is very key because if you end up getting a letter being rejected, you could get rejected for applying in the wrong state. You could get rejected if you applied for UI or not UCFE, or if you applied for UCFE and not UI. And we all know it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks as you're waiting. Then you apply for the wrong thing. Now you're waiting 6 weeks before you get your compensation. Also keep in mind, depending on where your federal duty station was, your benefits might differ. So there is something called a weekly benefit amount. Now you know the government, y'all know because y'all from there, a lot of acronyms. So when you see WBA, that's your weekly benefit amount. When you file and they submit your information, make sure you're checking your email. Sometimes they say we'll send you a text message. Sometimes it says check the website, check your email. They also are still snail mailing stuff. So don't be like me and not check your mail. Check your mail. Because you wouldn't believe how many times I've had people come to me, and when we get on the phone with the call center, the agency says, we mailed it to you 3 weeks ago. And I have to be like, did you check your mailbox? Right? And they looking at me and I'm looking at them because they be in my office and their house is where their unemployment information is. So, but your weekly benefit amount differs by state. That is a state level decision, WBA. And you're going to receive a percentage of your income based on what your state's identified weekly benefit amount. Now, the weekly benefit amount is based on your income from the prior 52 weeks. If there were any probationary employees that were laid off and you weren't there for 52 weeks, your weekly benefit amount is going to be decreased because of your contribution. Now, this is something we are not sure on yet. If you don't have 52 weeks, you are really sitting at a point where you're in between regular UI if your previous employee was non-federal and federal UI, which are, as I said, is two different compensation systems. We don't really have clear answers. We're asking the states what happens in East Shore, but again, of course, as everybody is reading the news and learning, we're figuring it out. But those who don't have 52 weeks, you are in kind of the middle phase that you got to figure it out. So we have a table, but I'll be here for questions. Outside of that, Employer Prince George's, we have a job fairs about every 3 weeks. We had a job fair this week. In 2 weeks from now, we have our Federal Employee Career Transition and Resource Fair. March 12th, we just confirmed the location because of the expected size at the Prince George's Sports and Learning Complex. Parks and Recreation is going to host it. You can sign our table. It's literally right when you walk out this door. Sign your information. We'll email you. Doesn't matter if you're a Prince George County resident or not. We're not going to turn you away. It's March 12th at 10 a.m. at the Prince George's Sports and Learning Complex. We're going to have resources, municipal job opportunities, county job opportunities, state government job opportunities, and private sector opportunities as well. So just remember your unemployment information. Remember it's based on your duty station. Make sure you get access to your SF forms because they are going to ask you for that. They're going to qualify that. Pay attention to your weekly benefit amount and make sure you're tracking your mail, your phone, and your email to get your unemployment information. And if you were denied, it could be that you put the wrong duty station or right information. We're here to help you, and thank you.
Good morning. I'm Dawn Medley, President and CEO of FSC First. We are the financial services arm for Prince George's County. We provide small business loans, and we also provide training and coaching and mentoring for small businesses. Some of you, whether you're a federal worker who has been fired or nervous about being fired, now may be the time to start to pivot. Remember that LLC you created and you didn't do anything with it? Now may be time, someone said yes. Now may be time to dust that off and finally take control of your own destiny and your own money by creating your own business. FSC also provides guidance for that though, because what you don't want to do is run out and form the wrong kind of entity, or you form a nonprofit when you should provide form an LLC or vice versa, and you end up spending some of your money and resources in the wrong direction. You get trained first. FSC provides this training free of charge, where you'll be able to learn what kind of entity is the best to create for the kind of industry you're going to get in, as well as the back office side of the business. People say, I make the best cupcakes in the world, but they don't understand how to create financial statements, how to create a business plan. We have a program to create the business plan with you, and it's important that you do that because you need to understand the financial mechanics of your business, not just the making the widget or providing the service. You need to understand the finances of that business as well. We also, as I said, provide financing. We will level you up to a loan. That means we can train you on how to be a business owner, how to start a business, and then provide the financing so that you can start that business. We are also a nonprofit and a community development financial institution. I've also been a business owner. So I have been where business owners are, but I'm a reform banker. So I understand what a bank is looking for and how you present yourself to a lender, because once they see you, they saw you, right? And FSC is a bit of a unicorn in the industry. It's okay if we see you when you're not quite ready, because we're gonna provide you with that training, but then we're there to provide the financing as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Michael Bayrd. I am the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs for the Comptroller of Maryland. I also want to just say I bring greetings from Comptroller Brooke Lehrman. And thank you guys for having us today just to lift up some opportunities and some resources from the Office of the Comptroller. We are fortunate to have great partnerships across the board, but one of them that I wanted to talk about as well was our partnership with the Cash Campaign, and they offer tax preparation resources during tax season, but also outside of it as well, for financial support, financial preparation support. So right now during tax season, they're offering free tax preparation support for households making $67,000 or less. So that's an important resource I want to provide here as well. There are also 40 websites, volunteer income tax assistance sites across the state that tax preparers or tax filers can go to get support as well. I also wanted to make sure that we lifted up the hands-on support that our agency provides through our various branch offices across the state. We have 11 branch offices where you can come in, whether it be walk-in, appointment, or virtual appointments. We have 11 branch offices, and we actually have one here in Greenbelt as well. And another resource I want to talk about from the office is our Office of Taxpayer Advocate. As a customer service opportunity that the Comptroller wanted to create, really to ensure that taxpayers have a direct resource for complicated and important tax questions or problems that they're having, and they're having difficulty either accessing different avenues within the agency. You can always reach out to myself or someone within our office and get you in touch with one of our taxpayer advocates, and they'll be able to assist you through the process and move things forward. Wanted to lift up some free tax filing opportunities outside of what I just talked about. We are one of 25 states that have partnered with the IRS Direct File Program. So we're estimating that around 870,000 Marylanders will be eligible to use this program, and it allows you to file your taxes for free, and that's both your federal and state taxes. We work in conjunction with a vendor called Code for America, who has created this program for all of these, all of the other 24 states. So they know what they're doing. They really spent time walking through us and making sure that we have the resources to push that back out into the community and share that with you guys. Wanted to also just really make sure to let you know that if there are any other questions or assistant needs that you need from the office, we have a great resource online, our tax toolkit, marylandtaxes.gov/tax toolkit. It has everything you need to know about tax season, whether it's credits that you may be, tax credits that you may be eligible for to reduce your tax burden or to increase your tax return that you're going to be getting. So please feel free to check out that website as well. And we also have a resource table right outside the store. If you have any questions, we're more than happy to walk you through those. So thank you again for having us. Really, really excited for the rest of the conversation.
Good morning, my name is Ivy Finkestadt. I'm the managing attorney at Community Legal Services. CLS is a legal services organization that provides civil legal services for low-income residents of Prince George's County and Anne Arundel County. We offer a large variety of services, including family law, through our in-person clinics, online and by phone, and we have clinics in the Prince George's County Circuit Court and available if you call our office. We provide services to domestic violence survivors for petitions of protective orders. We have landlord and tenant services for people who receive notices from their landlords and they need assistance. We have attorneys in the courthouse in Hyattsville and in Anne Arundel County District Courts that can assist people the same day that they come in with their concerns or by phone. We offer foreclosure prevention and bankruptcy services. We have an attorney that can advise and represent on those issues, as well as wills and estates. We have an event planned March 13th and 15th with Jolene Ivey's office. Actually, it's going to be in Bladensburg. So we can tell you more about that for individuals 60 and over who are income eligible. I feel like I'm just like listing everything. We provide guardianship Specifically, right now, we're working with families to provide standby guardianship for individuals who may be anticipating or fearful of immigration detention, to provide for their children if something bad should happen to them. We have expungement clinics frequently throughout the community, including in March. We will have one on March 12th in Anne Arundel County, and March 29th will be here in Greenbelt at the Beltway Plaza, and we will also be at Michelle's event in Glenarden at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden. Our phone number is 240-391-6370, and our website is clspgc.org. We answer the phone bilingual, Spanish and English. If anybody has a concern and they need to use another language, we always try to be language forward, so we use language line interpreters. And we have interpreters if you end up with representation through one of our pro bono attorneys, and we can provide you with an interpreter for your case as well. Now, CLS is not involved in any of the lawsuits on behalf of federal workers, but we are here to provide resources and answer questions. And we know that there is fallout in other areas of your life if something should happen to your employment. So we want people to call us with their questions and concerns, even if it doesn't fall into one of that list of areas that I just talked about, because we can offer you referrals to other appropriate resources. I'm definitely taking down the tax clinic as a referral going forward. We are here to help you. We're going to be in the hallway if you want to speak to us directly. But please take down our information and keep us in mind if you have any kind of legal question that you need assistance with. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Okay, so we're going to take a few questions. If you'd like to enunciate, I have a full one here. It's very simple, you know. Just speak into it, no buttons pressed, anything like that. So, if you have a question, I can come to you for our panel.
My question to the panel is, what are the income eligibility limits on these programs for low-and-moderate income residents in the county? Because most people that make more than $15 an hour go to Maryland and apply for energy assistance, making more than $2,510 a month. You can't get no help. You go across the line, that's $30,000 a year. You go across the line, it's $57,000 a year, breaks down to $4,727 a month. We need to urgently do something about eligibility, low income eligibility limits for assistance here in the state. Thank you.
For workforce development programs across the state, regardless of, so Maryland has 24 jurisdictions from a county and then Baltimore City. For workforce development programs, if you have filed for unemployment or are eligible, you fall into a category called WIOA, W-I-O-A, dislocated worker. So even though you did make a certain amount of money, if you are eligible for unemployment, you have filed. And this is even if you've exhausted your unemployment already, but you're eligible, it doesn't matter how much you previously worked. If you are eligible for unemployment, you would qualify. So from traditional, you would not qualify, sir, and I'm in between the flag here, for WIOA adult, which is income-based, but WIOA dislocated worker, because you are eligible, you are. And that's and the 24 jurisdictions from counties in Baltimore City is broken down into 13 workforce areas. So you just have to find your area. But even if you've exhausted it, if you're eligible, you can apply. And that even means if you are a Maryland resident, but your unemployment's in Virginia or DC, you just bring your Virginia or DC printout and you qualify.
For community legal services, we follow the Maryland Legal Services Corporation guidelines, which are 50% of the Maryland median income. And I just pulled up our chart. So if you're a family size of one, a single individual, the annual income eligibility is no more than $38,805 or monthly would be $3,234, or weekly income $746. And it goes larger family size, larger eligibility cap. I know that's not what everyone wants to hear, but somewhat similar to Employee Prince George's. We're going to be looking at what you actually are bringing in. So if you tell us your income is zero and you're willing to swear to that on our affidavit, then your income is zero. Financial Services Corporation.
We have a booth with a green cover right outside these doors, and just scan the QR code and tap on it and sign up for free.
If your duty station is DC, you'll file it with the DC Department of Employment Services. Yep, so each state has a regular UI and a federal UI. You still file with the state, but when you go to the DOES website and file, you're going to select the UCFE unemployment. So regardless of your duty station is Virginia, DC, or Maryland, you will go to that state website, but when you actually click the button, you're going to be looking for UCFE. Because each state has a regular UI and a federal UI. Go to your state where your duty station and select the federal unemployment, and that should help you from not getting rejected for filing for the wrong UI.
Someone wanted clarification for the time for the event at Glen Arden Baptist Church at March 29th?
The other thing is, in my reporting, I found out that there are paperwork that you're supposed to get from your agency, but because it's such chaos, people are not receiving, is it the S50 and the S8, right? SF. So if you don't get that, you should still apply. If the agency doesn't contact the state or district, then you can file an affidavit to say how much you earned and what you did for the government. So the lawyer that I talked to said, go ahead and file because you want to start that process. And if for some reason you don't hear anything, then at least you can, thank you, the SF8 and SF50. So this is, it's chaos right now, and the HR departments are overwhelmed, and you're not getting the information that you need. So you might have to still go forward to apply for unemployment, even if you don't have that paperwork, and just make sure you ask them for an affidavit so that you can attest to how much you make, because that's important, because that's going to determine your benefits. But see, this is why we're saying this is how they've been handling this is so crazy. If you got a RIF notice, well, your HR department doesn't know anything. There are all kinds of rules that they're supposed to be following that they're not following, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still try to move forward to do the best you can to apply for what you need to apply for. And then, all of us up here are here to try to help you sort through this stuff, because they don't know, your departments don't know, and we're doing the best we can to try to help you. But the one thing I will say is, you heard a whole bunch of dates and things. Please come to these things, because we are here to try to help you. Don't try to do this by yourself. Look for the resources that are up here, please, because you don't want to make a mistake that will make things worse. For example, if you lose your job, you may not want to contact your landlord because you're like, I don't have no money. Or you may not contact your mortgage lender, but you have to make those calls anyway, y'all. And during the pandemic and then before then, during the recession, they have put in things in place to give you a pause on your payments. but you won't know that if you don't call. And you also have to prioritize your debt. If you have lost your job for sure, there are things that you have to pay. The roof over your head, the food on your table, and hopefully your car payment. But those credit card payments, and I would never say this, y'all know I hate debt, right? Y'all know I hate debt, but that's not a priority. Your credit score is not a priority when you have to pay the necessities. So you have to prioritize your bills and go through it. And now is the time, if you've never really done it, to really budget and look at everything. Even those of you who still have a job. And if you are fortunate enough and you're here on behalf of somebody else, those of us who still have a job, you need to look at your finances because you're going to need to help some people. Because the government is overwhelmed and they're running out of resources. And so we all have to help each other. So that may mean that you might have to pay somebody's car payment or mortgage to help them out until they can get the resources. Because we have to band together. And I really, all these dates we mentioned, you guys got to go to this thing. So at First Baptist, it's March 29th at our main worship center in Watkins Park. It starts at 8, it goes to 3, and we're gonna have some food at some point. But there's all kinds of workshops, and there are gonna be so many resources there. And I think another date was the March 12th at the Sports and Learning Complex. I mean, just write all these things down and go to everything and prepare yourself.
Make sure everybody gets it, so still use it, please. There's no pushing.
Oh, okay. My question is, I'm a USAID employee, okay? So we have received our RIF notices. We're supposed to start getting some understanding. USAID was my first federal job with government. I went in 2011. I do have the age, but I'm shy of 20 years based on my RIF date by 6 months. My question is, and I'm a member of First Baptist as well. My question is, can I draw unemployment while I wait for an OPM to do the needful? Because, like you say, the government's overwhelmed, and I plan to do a retirement because I do not want to forfeit my retirement benefits for health. And if I take a severance or get RIF, I've lost that opportunity based on what I've understood this far. So how do I move forward? Because I'm going to be in a posture where I'm going to have drought while they process and catch up. What do I do?
I always encourage people to apply. If people tell me, oh, Walter, I'm not going to be eligible, this, that, I always say, but at least apply. One, because and apply if you don't have the SF8 and the SF50, right? One, because they in legal have an affidavit. In labor and workforce, they have self-attestation. And so a lot of times they'll allow, especially in times like this, you can look at self-attestation. 2, I say always apply because you don't have to be receiving unemployment to qualify for some of these programs. The eligibility says, are you eligible? And if you haven't applied, and that's what I said, even if you've exhausted, just apply and get your eligibility determination, because a lot of times that will qualify you for something. So just do it, apply and see what happens. And even if you're not receiving anything, or if you've maxed out your benefits, the paper saying you're eligible will unlock other resources. So I say apply.
It's a good thing I'm not in church because I was going to say something. With RIF, you could bump into some other position. So apply, get the money, but if you do by some miracle, keep your position, you just pay the money back. So if you need that money during the time before anything settles, then they will send you a notice and say, hey, you kept your job or you were paid, just pay us back. But if you need money to put food on the table to keep your roof off there, definitely apply. Apply to everything that you can possibly be eligible for. They'll tell you when you can and cannot get it.
But see, what I was saying was, my situation is my retirement. I have the age.
Right.
I'm 19 years and 6 months by my RIF day.
Right.
My question really is, if I were to go and be RIF, doesn't that cancel, which I don't quite understand, because how does it cancel something you've already done? But nonetheless, Doesn't it cancel my federal retirement? See, that's the big question. I have a dependent, and I don't want to end up with COBRA rates into retirement. Whereas if I go on and retire, which is not what I had chosen to do, I am locked in at the federal benefit retirement rate. Do you follow what I'm saying?
I do.
You got me. So I'm in a crossroads.
Here's the problem. We don't know how to answer to your question because they are doing stuff so out of order that we have no idea. You could be rifting your date. End date could be, I guess, I don't know. Did they give you an end date?
Yeah, April 24th.
But if they sue and you get back some of that time because they weren't following the rules, then you might get that 6 months. So I would.
So you should talk to. I would talk to your agencies, or not your agency. I would talk to, if you can't get in touch with your agency, talk to your union or talk to their representative. There's somebody that has, or the federal retirement broker for the different federal agencies. Some of those in that opportunity should be able to give you, because even if they're laying you off, the actual retirement plan has a POC, and then your union has a POC. So one of those groups should be able to guide you. That is really specific to your guidance, and so I would refer to one of those POCs. And even if the agencies let you off, the actual process of the policy, call that customer. If you can find a customer service number to ask that question, that would be something that you should go to them.
Okay. Next question over here.
Hi, Congressman. I'm just checking to see if, I know you spoke on the Texas authorities over here for the seminar. Do you have any advice given from not required and what you can absolutely do? Government status,
So if you have not, and I'm gonna speak from just in the last few weeks being on different webinars, I was talking with a person, a retired Homeland Security HR person, deputy director. And the guidance that he gave to everyone as a previous HR deputy in the federal government, he said, if you have not been laid off, you need to log into your systems, print, take screenshots, and get every form possible. Because what he's seeing is, if like at Labor last week or week before last, the people that got laid off got an email at 7:45 p.m. and they were immediately shut out of the system. So they couldn't even file it. So if you are not laid off yet, log in, print everything, take screenshots, because I was also at Labor Thursday and people were leaving the building and immediately lost access while they were leaving the building. So once they walked out, they couldn't even get back in. And immediately as they couldn't get back in, they couldn't get logged into their accounts. So if you haven't yet, anybody that hasn't, log in, print, take screenshots, everything. And I got that guidance from a previous deputy director of HR at Homeland Security. So I'm not an expert, but what he said was, if you're not, get all your records, because sometimes some of these people are being cut out immediately and have zero access.
This is particularly important for your performance evaluations, because they're sending emails saying that you've been fired for performance, but they haven't looked at anything. And so you want to make sure, and we don't know what Doge is doing with those databases. And we don't know if they are deleting anything purposely or accidentally. So definitely your performance evaluations. The other thing is, I think you asked about TSP. That, again, it's an independent board that runs TSP, but right now there's nothing that indicates that they can do anything. TSP is your money. They cannot touch your money. And I would be very careful about doing anything in terms of rolling over that money, things like that. You're gonna start getting emails from financial people saying, oh, you know, Dolge is doing this and that, you should move your money out of TSP. TSP is the lowest cost way to invest. It is always your money. So if you have not set up your TSP account, which you should have, you want to go in there. You also want to make sure you put in the security measures. There's, you can go in and put in different factors so that it can contact your email or your telephone number. You want to make sure you do that. Download, your last quarterly statement. But that money for now, you should not have to worry about. Now the question would be, should I start pulling money out? And I would say, be very careful about that, because if you're under 59 and a half, you're going to experience that 10% penalty. However, there is a rule 55 that if you lose your job at 55, between 55, you can take money out without that penalty. But this is your retirement money, and so leave it alone for now, with the recognition that if things get bad, you might have to touch it. But make that the last resort before you do anything. My husband worked for the government for more than 30 years. He has not moved any of his money out of the TSP for right now, and I've talked to them quite a bit since this all happened. I would not be fearful of that part of your employment.
I just wanted to add something. This is something that most folks forget. So if you decide to withdraw money from your retirement accounts, whatever capacity it is, even though you may not be subject to a 10% penalty, it does increase your overall income that's subject to tax. So what that means is that it will put you in a different tax bracket. One of the things that I see people do is when they pull money from their retirement accounts, and the investor company that holds the funds will withhold taxes for the federal, but sometimes they do not withhold state taxes. So you may have a situation where you're withdrawing money, the federal taxes are withheld, but the state is not. So if you are going to withdraw money from these accounts, please, please, please make sure you talk to a tax professional to see how this will overall affect your tax bracket, and if any, would you be responsible for additional taxes?
So you've earned money, well, really for this year, so it wouldn't be that much, but you want to be careful, because I think they only withhold a minimum of 20%. So if you're in a different tax bracket, you might end up owing a tax debt. So she's absolutely right, 25%. But you might owe more depending on your income, right? So you she's so right. Please talk to somebody before you do anything, and make your situation where you don't want to end up with owing the IRS.
She mentioned something too, your previous performance evaluation, especially when you looked at the evaluation of September, October, you should definitely get a copy of that. Because especially those in the probationary period where they're saying, if you look at your reason is for performance deficiency or unsatisfactory, but if your most recent performance eval from last year listed as satisfactory or beyond, that's a direct conflict. So but you need to log in and have that information. So if there's a time when there is a federal lawsuit, you can have that documentation. And like she said, a lot of people are losing access. You don't know what might change or what they might not find 3 years from now. We all know, you sit if you watch TV late enough or early enough, they said, well, you laid off in the federal government between 2024 and 2028. You qualify for tax settlements too. So you want to have these documents with you, especially if the reason for your termination was unsatisfactory performance and you have your previous performance evaluation. So make sure you get access to those information if you can still access them, just to be prepared.
My question is directed at any additional measures people can take to protect themselves in the way that they're going about their emails. Is there any additional measures that federal authorities can take to protect themselves?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that is a concern. Again, like we've said, we're all living and learning through this. So in the unemployment system, regardless of what state, right, they can make a determination. Now, in a traditional environment, the employer can't contest you because are you laid off at no fault of your own? Are you done these things? Did you quit? And that's why people are telling you don't necessarily quit, because if you quit, you might not be eligible for unemployment because you left your employment, right? So when you do an initial determination, Virginia, DC, and Maryland, they will let you know. You can, if they're determined that you are not eligible, or if federal government, which I hope doesn't happen, starts contesting these and saying that you're not eligible, you can file, they will give you the information where you can file an appeal. So you can file an appeal with your state labor when you file it. When you file an appeal, you can actually go in and they will have somebody contact you and you can do an investigation and you can have a hearing. So this is something that you should just be prepared for. Now, we have not seen what the federal government is saying. No, we're not going to pay out, but we don't know. So yes, if you get your determination, you do have options. If it's a determination that says that you can appeal it, and that's where you need to follow your mail, because they give you a certain amount of time that you can appeal it. So if you're not tracking your mailbox, and that's what I said, phone, email, and your actual physical mail, because you can appeal it and get that information. And if your employer, and this is the thing, if they do start rejecting it or pushing it, your employer is going to have to come to that process. They don't have enough staff to come to everybody's hearing across America. So you can do that by protecting yourself. And that's where if you have your reason, any documentation you receive, you would bring that. So yes, keep as much. Right now, if I was y'all, I'm old school. I go to Staples, I give me one of them file folders, you would think I'm an accountant. And I put everything in that folder and I label it, I write my little permanent marker, and I would start doing it. I'm serious. That's the best thing to protect yourself is have as much documentation as possible.
We got time for one more question, and then I'll ask everyone to please follow up with the panelists afterwards, because they did note that they'll be available for the things that you all may need assistance with. And again, we're going to continue to offer resources. This is an ongoing conversation, an ongoing issue, so we're going to continue to make sure that we're helping everyone the best way we can. But to be mindful of everyone's time, we'll keep it to one more question, and then we'll wrap up after that. Thank you.
So for me, I would call, again, that's a question that I know I can't answer. The TSP has a website, and they have a list of contacts when you go there. They have a contact for customer service. They have a contact for appeals. They have a contact for any court orders. I would find the appropriate TSP contact on that website. And that's not your agency. That's actually the TSP management. I would call them and get those questions and keep all your documentation. So they ask you to scan something that you received, you can send it to them.
And it's separate from your agency. So if you're retired, you're not employed. So you have access to TSP website whether you're employed or not. That is, it's just like an investment account money. And it's totally separate from your agency email. You would just you have an account, hopefully, right? You set an account. You can go in there and look at your documentation, and you don't have to worry about it disappearing or them changing it. It's a whole nother level of coverage for you. So I wouldn't be fearful. There's a lot to be fearful for right now, but that's not one of them. At this, I would just do a caveat, y'all, because they just blowing up everything. But in that case, I would not be fearful about that. And to your point about be very careful about opening up any text messages or emails. Always call the direct source, because the criminals know that you guys are going to be getting information from unemployment and things like that. So please double check everything, and don't trust anything, because the fraud is increasing right now, and they understand that especially with such a large federal workforce, you will be getting scammed emails. So please, please, please check everything out before you click on anything. In fact, don't even click on anything in any text message or email. Go out of it and find information independently.
Just one last question.
Okay, thanks for being here. For the person on the end of the family law practice, you mentioned something about assistance for displaced adult federal workers that is above and beyond what the state maximum is, which is like $547.95. I heard you say $743. Maybe that was wishful thinking. What programs that you don't mind?
I think, is he talking about you? Are you talking about him down there? Oh, me? Okay, so what I was referring to was our income eligibility limit. So 743 is the weekly income maximum for a single person. However, if you have lost your job and you are receiving unemployment, your income is the amount of money that you receive from unemployment on a weekly basis. And we have an affidavit that you would sign when you apply for services that you are swearing under penalty of perjury that this is my income, these are my expenses. And we do ask like what amount you have in your checking and your savings, but it's not necessarily counted against you because that wouldn't be fair if we said you're going to be penalized for having savings. So it's based on your income, annual, monthly, or weekly.
Okay, thank you. What program is that?
Community Legal Services, and our website is clspgc.org.
We can just give another round of applause. Thank you.